And then I felt a presence behind me, like a magnet. And so I was instantly drawn to turn around, and I was drawn to a massive light. When I say a light, not like our lights that we turn on, not like a spotlight either. So a very bright light that didn't hurt your eyes, and quite big. And I felt instant, unconditional love straight away, and I knew who it was straight away. I knew it was God, and so I went over, and he said, "It's you can't be here. You need to go back." And I said, "No, I don't want to," because I hadn't been down the other path yet. So I wanted to look down there, and but he had stopped me, so there was no way going down there because he was in the way. But he said, "It's not your time. You need to go back."
I'm here today with Rhonda McGrath. Hi, Rhonda. How are you?
Hi, I'm really well, thanks, Tia. How are you?
I am
Mm.
doing so well, and I'm really excited to talk to you today. Rhonda had a near-death experience when she was only 5 years old. She had a heart condition, went to bed, and then died in her sleep when she was just practically a baby. Rhonda, thank you for coming to share your story with us. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. I feel honoured.
Well, the honor is mine. I'll tell you for sure that it is. But so tell me what happened. First, did you know that you had a heart condition?
No, no, not at that time. Um, I personally knew there was something not right because I was always tired and would go to school, go straight home to bed, and things like that. But no, there was no diagnosis at that time. So I didn't really know. I knew I was passing out, and the doctor said I would grow out of that, but that didn't happen.
So you went to bed one day when you were 5 years old, and
Yeah.
then what happened? What do you remember about?
Um, yeah, I went to sleep, and the next thing I knew that I was being guided by an angel along a pathway. I don't remember exactly her introducing herself to me, but I know that we walked for some distance with me hanging on her hand. So she was on my right side, and there was a long, like a corridor, I suppose. There was I couldn't see the angel. It was more a knowledge, just knowing that she was an angel and that she was a female angel older than my mum. And my mum would have been 25 at the time. So we were walking along, and the next thing I knew, I saw like a fire pit, a long fire pit along the pathway to the left. And in that was, well, they weren't quite people. They were what I call peopleroids, because they're all reaching out and trying to get me. Well, I felt like they were trying to get me because they were reaching out like this, but their whole faces were distorted, their bodies were distorted, they were long, stretched out bodies, if that makes sense. And I felt an instant fear. And the angel said to me telepathically, because I didn't see my body either. She said, "Don't be afraid, just look straight ahead." So I did what she said, and as soon as I did that, the fear went. And then we came across these magnificent, gigantic doors. So you couldn't see where they ended upwards or to the left or the right, but they just opened up as we arrived. The best way to explain those is that they're made out of gold and a dark timber mixed together. Is the only way for me to explain, because it's not a material that's here on this earth. So, and I knew that at 5 years of age. So we went through the doors, and there was a pathway, and straight ahead were these animals, and they were wild animals. They were just laying there, but they all looked up. And when they did that, I felt a fear again. And the angel said, "Don't be afraid. They won't hurt you." And then that was it. The angel left. And I didn't feel afraid instantly. I started walking straight ahead along the pathway. It went straight, or left and right at the end. And I decided to go right for the reason that I saw a waterfall and it was coming down, but I couldn't see where it started. And it was coming down, and then it sort of went across like a level part of the water, and then it went down again. So I was interested in the part that went down again. And I remember looking over and thinking, oh my goodness, it doesn't end. I can't see where it ends. And my little brain was trying to work out where it ends. It has to end. But it didn't. And then I felt a presence behind me, like a magnet. And so I was instantly drawn to turn around, and I was drawn to a massive light. When I say a light, not like our lights that we turn on, not like a spotlight either. So a very bright light that didn't hurt your eyes, and quite big. And I felt instant unconditional love straight away. And I knew who it was straight away. I knew it was God. And so I went over and he said, you can't be here, you need to go back. And I said, no, I don't want to, because I hadn't been down the other path yet. So I wanted to look down there. And but he had stopped me. So there was no way going down there because he was in the way. But he said, it's not your time. You need to go back. Again, I said, no, I want to stay. And I felt like he was my Heavenly Father, like I was at home. So that's why I wanted to stay. And then the third time, again, I said no. And he said, what about your family? And instantly I thought of my family. And I said, oh, okay then. So instantly I was back in my bed. And the next morning I told my mum, and she thought it was just a dream at first, but I over a little bit of time, I just kept bringing it up because I couldn't get rid of the dream out of my head. And then she said, oh, you must have had a near-death experience. But I don't think she said that, because in my little mind, I wouldn't know what that it was. So I think she might have said, her words were, you actually did go to heaven. And my parents ended up being born-again Christians after that. They were I know my mum was into the dark side, either leading up to my near-death experience or was still there. I'm not too sure. So then what happened was I resented God for sending me back for some time. And I stopped believing. I got right into the Christian church as a teenager, and I studied the Bible over and over and over. I still have that same Bible, and it's just about highlighted right through. So I studied the Bible, and I just kept thinking, this is not the God I met. So the God I met is unconditional love, no judgment, no negativity whatsoever, none. So as a teenager, I resented God, and into my early 20s, I couldn't fall pregnant, and I kept praying for a baby, and it didn't happen. And so I resented God. So at age 22, God came to me, and the only way to explain how he come to me is with my psychic abilities, which I got from the near-death experience, was a knowledge of knowing he was talking to me and not doubting. And he said to me very clearly, how can you deny me when you've met me? And because I would just pretend I didn't know God. I'd never told people my story. And if I did, no one really believed me, so I stopped. So I started to actually try and bring myself to believe in God, to love him again, and so forth. In my 40s, I got diagnosed with bradycardia tachycardia syndrome, and the first cardiologist that sort of was on the lead to where it was defining a diagnosis, I actually blurted out to him for no reason, I don't know why. oh, I went to heaven when I was 5 and rah, 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 and told him a brief story. And he said, oh, yeah, you had a near-death experience. And I was like, oh. And about a week later, I turned the TV on and it was a story, it was a documentary about near-death experiences. And I was like, oh, wow, people have had similar stories to mine. But I've never really looked into any people's stories since until I found your page. And which was only very recent. Um, so I then wanted to know, I felt like my family didn't need me. There was nothing significant to say, that's it. That's what my family needed. So my daughter, had grown, and I was laying out in the sun and I just prayed. And from then on, for quite a few years now, I've talked to God and had a very good relationship with God. Um, and I just said, you said my family needed me. And, like I don't have long to live. Why are you leaving me here? My family don't need me. And he turned around and said, what about your daughter? And I said, what about my daughter? He said, you have a heart condition. There's no cure. Your cardiologists, through you, are going to find a cure for your family, my children, my grandchildren, not my siblings, not my parents. So then I understood. So what happened was when I was 5 and had that NDE, I became very psychic, mostly through dreams to start off with, where I dream about things, my own future, and they all come true, but they were all negative. So I really didn't like telling people. Plus, I thought they'd think I was weird. I also see ghosts and hear ghosts. So I can speak to, I'm a medium as well. So, um, and like I sort of ignored that, pushed it away for many years. But when I was told I couldn't work anymore, that was a big blow to me because I work 70-hour weeks. I love working. I was a career orientated lady. And so that was a massive blow. So I thought, what am I going to do? I can't surf. I've surfed most of my life. I'm at the point now where I don't have enough energy to surf. What am I going to do? So I thought, why don't I do readings? Because I've only ever done readings at that point for my family and friends. Why don't I do free readings for people online, for people who need it? They're desperate. And I've been in that position where I've gone to a psychic because I was desperate for answers. And it all came true. So I thought, well, I'll just do that and see how I go. And it's been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I'm meeting with the most amazing people. And they do need the readings. They come to me because they really need those readings. Sometimes it's not what they ask for is what they get, but it will be something they really need to know about. So I really enjoy doing that. And when I'm well, because I'm not always well. So when I am, I'll get into doing my readings. I just had a recent operation, so I've got a big lineup at the moment. But so yeah, and that's my story. That yeah.
So did you have these gifts before you were,
I
or
don't
before
believe
you had
so.
your near-death experience?
I don't believe I did.
Okay.
No. I
So,
had had an experience around the same time with my sister, which was a bit negative. My younger sister, who was only 6 months old, was in her cot, and there was three entities that came. One that looked like the devil, a little fat man, and a witch. And they were leaning over to grab my daughter, not my daughter, sorry, my little youngest sister. But my sister on the bunk bed below screamed and they disappeared. So I did experience a lot of things like that, but nothing like what I experienced, and no psychic beforehand.
why do you think you were given those gifts?
I think for a purpose. I think to do what I'm doing now, to help people. Um, it's a big thing on my shoulders too. I do always stress, oh, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? And then I have to give my faith into God. because God is the one who gives me these visions. That's who I pray to protect myself and to help me with these readings. And so I do use God. God's really the one doing it. I'm just the channel.
Like a conduit.
Yeah, that's it. Conduit. Thank you.
And so you can see people who have passed, who are already on the other side.
Yes, yes. I mostly sense them. Sometimes I see them. If they look human, if they come in a human form, I will see them. Other times, they'll come to me and I'm just hearing them. And sometimes I have a lot of them come to me at once because I might have a lineup of readings and they all know that their family member or friends are waiting for that reading. So they all come to me at once. And I have to say, get back, wait your turn. Yeah. I'd like to mention also that I went to a psychic with my sister, which I forced her to come with me. She lives 6 hours away, and I kept saying, Dad's going to come through. My dad had passed, and he passed as a born again Christian. I saw the fear in his eyes, and I didn't understand it. So I said to him, Dad, when I was a kid, and I said I went to heaven. I really went to heaven and you're going somewhere you're not going to want to come back. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. And I said, and your mum's waiting for you. And he just stared at me. He didn't say a word. I know his mum was waiting for him because she kept coming to me and a couple of my sisters and family members. I come from a large family. And anyway, so my sister, I knew this psychic was going to my dad was going to come through this psychic. I don't, I just picked him out of Facebook and I said, that's him. That's who it's going to be. And I got it one morning and went on Facebook. I never do that. And I had a look and I saw he was in Coffs Harbour. I went, oh my goodness, I've got to go. So I bought a ticket straight away and said to my sister, you've got to come. Eventually, after about 3 or 4 phone calls, she decided she would. And my dad did come through among a lot of other relatives. And the last thing he said to me was, I'm waiting to show you around soon. And now that's his sense of humour because he knows I only saw that little bit at the start. So he knows that he's going to show me all the rest that I didn't get to see. And I knew that's what he meant. So that was just, yeah, I was really amazed. At that time, I didn't know that I was actually dying. I knew I was very sick, but I kind of did, but I hadn't been told that by a doctor at that point. And my sister was concerned. She kept saying, oh, he said soon, he said soon. I said, yeah, I know. I think it will be. And she didn't like that. But then I got the diagnosis and yeah.
You are making plans, or you know that you're going to cross over soon. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was given 5 years from the time I got my pacemaker. So that was 2020, 1st of April. And it's not April Fool's joke. Actually, when they rang me, I said, oh, this is an April Fool's joke, isn't it? Because I waited many years for the pacemaker because they had to build it for me. And they said, no. So I'm having a party next year on the 1st of April to celebrate that I'm still here because I'm not going then. I know I'm not going then. I know I've got at least 1 or 2 years after that. The date that I've been given. So that's to celebrate my life, or it's to celebrate my life if I'm passed. It doesn't matter either way. The party's happening. So
I think that is a unique gift in itself, knowing that you're going to cross over soon and being able to prepare not only yourself but your loved ones. How does this, how is this unfolding for you in your life?
um, um, for me, I can talk about it very easily for the reason that, and I realised this was a stepping stone to because my own reading did tell me this. I didn't understand it at the time, but I do now. For a living, I did life insurance, and so risk factors. So, in other words, I was talking about death and loss of arms, like serious illnesses every single day, every single day. So it became something easy for me to talk about. So I talk about it quite fluently, and it does upset my family a little bit because they don't understand how I can talk about it like that. Um, they didn't believe it at first. My immediate family didn't believe any of it at first, unfortunately. Um, but they do now, of course. My mum will say, "Oh, she's going before me," but I'm pretty sure we're going around the same time. Um, with my family, I've got 5 sisters and a brother, and many nieces and nephews. I've lost count. So they handle it. They handle it, but they don't really talk about it because they don't like to talk about it. And I respect that. I totally respect that. But they are prepared. I know I've got people I've got a friend who's going to organise a party for me. I've got my sister who's going to help my daughter because I only have one child. Um, with the funeral and everything like that. I'd like to do that maybe beforehand because so they don't have to deal with that, and I can deal with that quite easily. That's no big deal to me. So I know I do get that people don't get it, that people don't understand that I'm okay with it. I did see a psychologist a couple of years ago, and she actually said that I was pacified. I was really offended because I'm not. I'm not suicidal. I've been there. I just know where I'm going. And she just didn't understand that. And so she thought that I wanted to go there now. No, I'll go there when my time's up. You don't get to go there beforehand anyway. Look, I've had branches come down on my car, should have decapitated me doing 100 kilometres per hour. It didn't. I'm still here. So many times with my heart stopping over the years, no brain damage, and I'm still here. So I've passed out thousands of times. A lot of doctors find that hard to believe, but it's actually true. And my heart was stopping every single day and every night, and I'm still here. So my time hasn't been up.
So are you saying we're not able to die before it's our given
Yes,
time?
yes, yes, yes. That's what I believe strongly. I know it's people who take their life struggle afterwards because they think that they're not allowed in heaven because they've been judged or whatever. And they will sort of like stay here instead of crossing over, which is really sad because it's not true. They're welcome in heaven. Everyone is. Everyone is. So, like I don't know what more there is to heaven yet, but I do believe there's different levels, different spots you can go to depending on who you are, what you've. I think life itself is like a big lesson, a lesson one to find out where we came from, which was heaven originally. So, and when you realize that, it's so easy to go back there. So, yeah, I'm excited, but I don't want to go there before my date, but I am
Yeah,
excited.
right. Yes, exactly. We have to make the best of this life, no matter what, and then go when it's our time, like you said. And I find that you're saying that, or I find that when you said we can't go until it's our time, I find that fascinating. That is, and very comforting also. So we know that there's no mistakes, everything was supposed to be as it was and as it is. How do you feel about crossing over? Are you afraid?
No, no, not at all, because I know my dad's going to be waiting. My grandma probably will be waiting as well. And probably my auntie as well, like probably a whole heap of people will be waiting. The grandfather I never got to meet, um, who my dad reconciled with on the other side. So he didn't get to reconcile with him before he passed away and always regretted that on his deathbed. And he let us know through that psychic that he's reconciled with his father after, on the other side. And I find that amazing in itself too, because that tells me we can reconcile with our loved ones on the other side. You know, we don't have to feel the guilt because there is no guilt in heaven. So, yeah, I find that really, really amazing that all our fear goes. And I think I get asked, why did I see those? Was that hell on the way in that I saw? No, I don't believe so. What I believe, I don't even know that I believe in hell, to be quite honest here. I believe that what that is for us to drop our fear, to get rid of all fear. And same with the animals. I saw what I needed to see to get rid of my fear before I went through those doors and before I went along that pathway. My fear had to go. So I think that's all that was. And someone might see something different because their fear might be something completely different to mine.
Were you born? I know you said your parents that they became born again Christians, but
Mm.
were you born into a Christian family?
Not to start off with, no. My mother was more into the dark side, and a lot of things were happening. Even I can tell you lots of different stories with that, but at a very young age, because I used to sit outside the lounge room door and listen while I was supposed to be in bed. I don't know why I did that. I was just fascinated. And they're into doing seances and using the Ouija board and not really knowing what they were doing. But then my mum realised if there's a devil, then there's got to be a God. So she started to go to church, and then eventually my dad did. And then eventually my parents split. And my dad stayed a born again Christian right up until he passed away. Whereas my mum had studied many religions and decided to become spiritual. And I've gone along that same pathway now too, because I did study the Bible as a teenager and looked at other religions. I think all religions have their purpose. You know, like I don't think you should worship. The problem is that people are more about their religion than they are God sometimes, and that's sad because then they go, well, that religion's wrong and that religion's wrong. Well, no religion's wrong, depending on where you come from in the world. We're all praying to one God, only one God, the God I met. Doesn't matter what you call him, he doesn't care. He knows we're all praying to him. So, and we all get our answers from him. So it doesn't matter what religion we are when we pray. So I find that really interesting as well that I came to that conclusion after many years and lots of chats with God. I started to when I accepted God back after like denying Him for many years. I've built up a wonderful relationship with God where I can talk to Him on a daily basis like a friend, and He talks back to me like a friend. The funniest thing He did, and I do know God has a sense of humor. And one time I asked a question, it must have been something really stupid. And you know the thumbs up, the blue thumbs up on Facebook?
Yeah.
I saw that right in front of my face. And I thought, oh, geez, you've got it, you're funny ass. You know, I just realized how funny God is. And he has a sense of humor. And the amazing thing about that is before my grandmother passed, I asked her, what's the secret to life? And she said, always keep a sense of humor. And I think that's really important. And I feel that God says the same thing.
And you have some amazing and beautiful gifts. You also visited a psychic who saw your father. Are you able to see your father or your past ones or have a communication with them?
Yes, absolutely. My dad, after he passed away, so he lived like 15-hour drive from where I live. And I came home. He passed away for maybe 2 weeks this point. I had a TV in my bedroom and it wasn't connected to any aerial. I just used it like for YouTube or whatever. So I was sitting out on the veranda and with a friend who doesn't believe in any of this, so she says, but she can't deny this. I heard my TV on and I said, "Is that my TV?" So I went in to look and it was crystal clear, the show MASH. Now, my father never ever missed that show. He watched it every single day. I don't know how many times he must have watched it, probably 15 times or 30 times or something in his lifetime, but he watched it every single day. And it was on crystal clear. And that happened every single day for weeks after weeks. So I said to him, all right, you get to watch MASH on my bed. That's fine. Um, how about if I change the channel, will it be crystal clear for me? And I heard, yeah, all right. So I did that at crystal clear. Not that I really wanted to watch it, I just wanted to see. And then all of a sudden that stopped. And so then it started in the lounge room, and I knew it was Dad because my own tarots were telling me, stop, turn the TV off. It's a distraction. And I ignored it. And so my dad just would turn it off where I couldn't start it. And this went on for about 12 months. Occasionally I could start it, and occasionally I could not. And I always knew it was my dad. One of my best friends lives in Mexico, and she had a son, and she's bringing him over. And I said, Dad, you need to make sure that Sawyer can watch TV. So sure enough, when they come, I said, look, it doesn't work. Anyway, they went up, turned it on, and it was working crystal clear. I went, thanks, Dad. So he does things like that and still does. But the amazing thing that he did say to me once was, so my dad remarried, and it's another story about his wife, but who he remarried. But only it was really sad, like when he was dying and that. Oh yeah, he came to me and he said to me very clearly, and I knew who I had to ring and tell this to too. Is that he said to me, "I'm so sorry that I put my religion before you kids." He said, "I should not have done that. I know that now, and that includes my wife. I should not have done that, and I know that now, and I'm so so sorry." Now he said that to me before I went and saw the psychic, and the psychic he said the same thing through the psychic. But at the time he told me, I knew I needed to ring my youngest sister and tell her, and that I did, and she really needed to hear that as much as I did. So that was really good. So they
That
know once they go to the other side, they know what they've done wrong straight away. No judgment.
no judgment. I love that.
Mm, mm.
And then, so you have these beautiful connections with the other side, very, very strong, loving, beautiful spiritual gifts. How can other people, do you have any tips for others who don't have that same connection and how they can start to develop their own connection, their own gifts?
Yes. Um, well, you can do little tests for yourself for your gut. Your gut feeling, your intuition. We quite often don't use that, but we've all got it. So you can just you can put something under a cup, and which cup is it under? Use your intuition to say it's that cup, not your brain, not your eyes, nothing else but your intuition. And you can practice that. But the main thing is to use your intuition, which is the hardest thing for all of us. But another thing is just to talk to God every day, and He will give you answers. He will tell you. Also, in my page and everything, I do try and help people in that area with their gifts. So I let people who are just starting out in their psychic abilities to do readings, and there's no judgment in my page. It's only positivity. There's no negativity. So so if anyone's to comment, it's got to be a positive comment back, a feedback for that person. So I feel that really helps people too, to just join a group where they are helping you to bring out your psychic abilities. Yeah, so sometimes I watch those grind shows and I say, oh, I think this happened. Let's see if I'm right. If I use my intuition. Last night I got it right, so I was pretty stoked. Um, sometimes I get it wrong because I'm not using my psychic ability, I'm just using my head. So the way of knowing its psychic ability is knowing that how you think, and the knowing of, which is the them talking to you, is, it's not how you talk. It's and you will sort of be given a voice to it without hearing the voice, if that makes sense. You know what the voice sounds like, whether it's gruff or whether it's smooth, or so you get an idea of that. And just keep practicing, practice, practice, practice. That's what I did for some years.
What do you think happens when we die? I know you didn't get to go all the way, you came back, but do you have any notions of what happens when we have to stay there?
I think we just get to, for me, I'm going to be surfing every single day, the waves in heaven. And I know a lot of my friends who have passed in the last couple of years are all doing that, and I'm looking forward to joining them and dropping in on them too. um, um, I think we get to do whatever we love. As for reincarnation, my mum has a different belief to me. I don't believe we're reincarnated during the generations that we would be alive to see. So, because that won't make sense to me. If we're reincarnated, then how are they coming to me and talking to me? That part I don't get, unless there's something I don't know, and there could be. So, for me, I think you're there, and you get to go and visit your loved ones, and you can come to Earth whenever you want, go backwards and forwards, however you like. And I think that you just get to do what you really love to do. Also, I think that during that time that we're there, if we are reincarnated, which makes sense that we would be at some point, um, we get to choose whether we want to come back. That's what I've heard. We choose, and we choose the family we want to be with. And and sometimes you go, well, why would I have chose that family? Maybe because in later in life you work it out. You might not work it out in your first 30 years. It might take 50 years to work it out, because timing is always perfect as well. Um, yeah, so you can't push something to happen before it's time, if that makes sense. Sorry.
I like that message. I just love that message, actually. You can't make something happen when it's not time. There's so much talk about divine timing and patience, patience being a virtue and a superpower. And yet we don't understand that divine timing that we always talk about, that everything happens in divine timing. So thank you for leaving that message with us. I love it. And if my viewers wanted to reach out to you, if they have questions or they'd like to talk to you about their gifts or your gifts, how can they find you?
I'm on somewhere. My page has got a page and a group. Somewhere over the rainbow. There's so you're best to join both, because you can. The page is where you can actually go and message me privately, whereas the group is more a group sort of chat. And I do readings through there, but it will be seen by everybody in the group. Some readings I think are meant to be done privately, and so therefore I offer that for them as well. But they can ask me any question whatsoever on there, on in the group or on the page.
Do you have any last words of wisdom for my audience?
All I can say is stay happy and keep a sense of humor.
That's very wise. Thank you so much. And
Thanks,
thank
Tia.
you so much for being my guest. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you, to get to spend this time with you.
Thank you. It's been an honor for me too. You're beautiful.
You are too. Thank you for being here. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here and supporting my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing if you enjoy near-death experiences and other spiritually transformative stories. It helps the algorithm know that this information is useful and push it out to more people. And that's the goal, to get as many people to know that we are eternal spiritual beings and that we never die. Our bodies might die, but our essence will never die. And I want people to live with less fear. Let's all spread the word. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that little notification bell so you get all the notifications when my videos post. Thank you for all of your support. I'm sending love to you.